Hi, Anthony. I've got the answers to your questions. So, when you're growing up as a kid, what sparked your curiosity for technology? I've always been fascinated by technology. I remember growing up without the internet, so being able to have access to AOL for the first time, getting an instant messaging platform, opened up the world to me. And as soon as I could remember technology, I've been fascinated by it. And I've sort of carried that through adolescence and adult life to obviously my career now. Technology has always sort of been a part of who I am. When we both grew up, a time when tech was still growing, computers, size of rooms were expensive, one thing in the past that was really intriguing to you. So one thing that is still intriguing and nostalgic, and I see it in my kids right now, is live programming. Being able to make sure you're sitting in front of your TV on Channel 4 at 8 o'clock, something that was very cool and sort of was a cultural thing. Everybody was watching the same thing at the same time. And you sort of see it now a little bit with things like Game of Thrones. But I loved that time and trying to run to the bathroom during commercials and sort of get back and sitting with my sisters watching a show. That still is sort of a nostalgic time for me and something that I look back on fondly when I see my kids want to watch a show and they don't understand what commercials are because they don't ever see them. Was a bit eye-opening. Share some of your life story to help us tell about your story of childhood, teens, and adulthood. So, growing up, I was a pretty average kid. I was average height, average build. I was an average athlete. I wasn't really great, at anything, but I wasn't really bad. The thing that I always knew that I saw plenty of kids more athletic, better looking. The only skill that I ever had was I could talk. That was really from an early age my only ability. I used to go to try to talk my way out of writing papers or talk my way out of reports or convince teachers I turned in homework that I didn't. I would always try to talk my way out of things. So growing up, I knew that was my only strength. So I tried to think of what I could do with that one very small skill set. So I just figured that I was going to be a lawyer. That was always what I was going to be because, lawyers talk, and that was something that I always wanted to do. And that kind of morphed later on to wanting to go into politics. I feel that I've always had a pretty strong moral compass of what's right and wrong. And I tend to be very moderate when it comes to politics. I'm not really one part or the other, but more parts of both parties. So I've always had a long-term vision of running for office one day and trying to be a politician that people can look up to and respect. I think it's hard to name a politician right now that people respect and trust. And I've always kind of wanted to try to be that and try to make a difference. So when TechnoBuffalo started, I'd already been doing videos for about a year and a half. And I originally reached out to all the big websites at the time. This is 2009. I reached out to CNET, Engadget, Gizmodo, and nobody got back to me. I said, hey, let me do video for you. Video's gonna be a big thing. And nobody replied to me. So I figured in my mid-20s feed, I'm like, I could do anything. And probably a bunch of naivete, I was like, you know what? Screw you, I'm gonna create my own website. And I didn't know what I didn't know. So we built this huge, crazy platform that had sublogs and chat built into it, hired a developer, and I went through almost all of my capital to let the developer develop, and I figured he's gonna make it. And I used all of my platforms to start hyping up the launch of TechnoBuffalo, and then it crashed within 60 seconds. And it didn't crash because of crazy traffic. It crashed because of really bad code. And it crashed because I didn't know what server requirements should be. And I had to burn through almost all of the rest of my startup capital to get it back up and running. It's when I developed insomnia. It's when all of my sleep and stress issues started. I used to be able to sleep through my 2 p.m. class, and now I got a hard time sleeping through the night. That gave me a perspective on don't bite off more than you can chew. At that point, I already left my job, so I had no choice but to make it, or at least try to make it a success. So what dreams that I still have left to accomplish on YouTube? I think for as long as people are interested in hearing what I have to say, I would still like to be here to say it. I love YouTube. It's one of the most intimate platforms for communication, and I think it's something that is unparalleled as far as like shifting how people consume content. But I would also like to branch out to other things while still doing YouTube. I would like to be on TV. I've always had a dream of hosting a show, whether it's a game show or a tech show or just being on the news. I've always wanted to do that. I'd like to write a book. Like I said, I'd like to run for office one day, but I still want to be on YouTube as long as people care about what I have to say.